Welcome to day 9 of our Created to Hear God study. Now, I know this is kind of shorter than normal, and there's a lot more to say on this topic. That's why I wrote the book, Created to Hear God. And you guys know I always do a study, and I always say you can get the book if you want more. But here's the truth: Created to Hear God, there's just more in it. You just are getting only a little bit. It'd be impossible to do a study on the entire book. So if this is sparking your curiosity and you're like, I want to know more about this, my Created to Hear God book is out. It's on Audible, it's on Kindle. And the coolest part is we just have done about a third of the book, but there's all kinds of ways to discover, to grow, to answer the questions that you have. And so today we're going to uncover the fourth and final prophetic personality in no order, no certain order, the knower. Now, the knower is the light bulb in the room. The knower is the person that God speaks to through a clarity, a wisdom. It's a sense, it's a prompting. It's like you just know that you know. It's God speaks to you and you're knower. And he gives that to you through a history of listening to that knowing and actually stepping out and doing that. Now, I know a lot about knowers because I'm a knower. We're going to talk more about that. But I love Job chapter 38:36, and you can turn there later, but I love this. It says, "Who gives intuition to the heart and instinct to the mind?" Who does that? God. Again, we've been talking a lot about this. There is no separation between secular and sacred. There is nothing that is unspiritual and spiritual to God. It all intersects. So our intuition, our imagination, all of that was given to us by God and can be used by the Holy Spirit to reveal things about God to us. So who gives it to us? God does. Now, we see God using this kind of supernatural, intuitive sense when Paul takes Timothy instinctively. He had a choice to take him, and he decided that that was the right one to take, Timothy. And his choice was right. But there was an intuitive sense, not just a thus saith the Lord. So why is it important for knowers to know? Well, knowers have this ability to have this clear thought. It's like they're going somewhere and all of a sudden they go, I'm supposed to buy that house. I'm supposed to move there. I'm supposed to start this company. And if you were to actually pinpoint them and say, okay, pin them down and say, okay, how do you know? They would say, I don't know. I didn't get a vision. I didn't get a feeling. I didn't get a thus saith the Lord. I just have this know. And I just know that I know. And it's rock solid. I just have this clarity. That's what a knower experiences. Now, can I be honest? In a charismatic world, a knower can feel like a heathen because in charismatic worlds, feelers get elevated, right? In a conservative world, maybe a knower gets elevated. You just know the truth. Maybe in another part of the community of Christ, a hearer can be elevated, right? Go out and hear God. Take a quiet time and go hear what God is saying. The main goal is that for a knower is that they need to know that what they know is not less spiritual than the feeler who's crying tears or the guy who has the vision or the guy who has the thus saith the Lord. Your knowing is profound. It is a divine interaction with God, and it is just as spiritual as the person next to you. Sometimes God serves up clarity to a knower, or he gives them a strong side of urgency, right? I just need to do this right now. Knowers have this ability to hold unique wisdom about things. It's pretty profound. In fact, knowledge is a key. Wisdom knows how to use the key, and God tells you which door to open and when to walk through it. So your knowledge is, I should go there. Wisdom says, spring might be the time, but only God can give a knower when the exact moment is right and where to go and how to go there. That's what divine knowing is, and God interacts with you. How do we grow in knowing? Well, knowers have this propensity to not know God is speaking to them, and they dismiss it as common sense or wisdom or, yeah, that's just what I knew. But only when knowers stop dismissing that inner knowing and they start to actually listen to that knowing, all of a sudden they grow in wisdom, they grow in confidence, and they begin to see their lives as spiritual. So why is this important? Well, it's very important for the knower to stop believing the lie that you are not spiritual and that you don't hear God's voice. You're right. You're not a feeler. You're not a hearer. You're not a seer. You're a knower, and that's profound. And you need to start honoring your supernatural knowing and intuition because God is speaking to you through those two things. You also need to get busy using that unique wisdom and that unique knowing. That's unique about you. The seer doesn't always know, the hearer doesn't always know, but you do. And that's profound. And here's the most important thing as a knower, you get to show up and know that that is just as valuable as everybody else. So, what happens in a room? Well, to the seer, they see things. To the hearer, they hear things. To the feelers, they feel things. To the knower, they know things. And all of that is a divine interaction that God has had with you throughout your life. Can you have all four? Yes, absolutely. You can have all four of those operating in your life. In fact, those that are new in their faith sometimes don't know what they have or what they are. But also those that have been in God for a long time and have been hearing his voice for a long time, they often don't know what their primary prophetic personality is. Now, it's very important to figure that out. So tomorrow, we're going to look at how do I discover my primary prophetic personality and why it's important. Because if I have all four operating in my life, why does it even matter? We're going to talk about that. And, we haven't got into it, but this book, we talk about your weaknesses, your strengths, and your areas of growth. There's so much more to learn on the topic. But tomorrow, we'll talk about discovering on our final day your primary type.